Hey everybody, this is Duncan Keller with another video blog post, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the process of fixing glitches in a video game, more specifically fixing glitches with the animation. Here's the sprite sheet for the main character in the game. Each row represents a different animation, and as you can see, he is facing to the right in every frame. This is a little bit problematic, as the program relies entirely on this sheet to tell it how to handle the animations. Today I'm going to go through the process of creating an opposite direction. So here's the game and there's the main character. When he moves to the right, he is facing the right direction, and when he moves to the left, he's also facing the right direction. Obviously we want to get him to turn around, and that's what we're going to try and work at today. Alright, so let's pull up the Photoshop file that contains his sprite sheet. So here's the sprite sheet opened up in Photoshop. Now what I want to have done eventually is I want to have all of his directions flipped around to the left. But not just that, because I want to have his right directions as well. So what I'm going to do is duplicate the layer right here, so I have two sets. The top one will be him facing right, the bottom one will be him facing left. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up a grid, just so it'll be a little bit easier to tell where I'm lassoing and moving the sprites, and it'll also just be a little bit more accurate as well. So what I'm gonna do is, instead of flipping the entire bottom of the sprite sheet around horizontally, I'm gonna go by frame and edit each one. If I flipped around the entire thing horizontally, it would actually leave a lot of gaps, which would be very bad for the program and kind of difficult to work around. So I'll just go frame by frame on each picture of the character you see there and flip it around horizontally. I'll do the first one right here by highlighting it, just going to the transformations and flipping it horizontally and making sure it's aligned properly, and do that for every single one. Obviously this would take a while, so I'm going to go ahead and speed the thing up a little bit. It won't take nearly as long. I will have to go back eventually on the sprite sheet and probably align them a little bit better, as this grid probably isn't the most accurate, but I'll worry about that later. Right now it's just important to make sure that it works and that it's easy to implement in the code. So the final thing is going to look like a double version of that sprite sheet, except one half flipped around. And I'll go ahead and reflect that in the programming. Originally it had 6 rows, but now it's going to have double that. So here's the animation engine, where I have basically every animation listed out. Right here at the top is where I declare them all. You can see the stopping, walking, jumping, falling, destroyed, appear, climbing animations. And so I'm just going to make duplicates, but instead of having him face right, now he's going to face left. So to differentiate, I'll call these new animations stopped left, walking left, jumping left, and just kind of help myself out so I'll be able to tell a lot easier. Alright, so as well as just listing the animations, I also have to tell it which animation is at which frame. So right here is where I tell it where the stopped animation is and the stopped left animation relative to the sprite sheet. So they're going to be in different places now, so I'll have to edit it a little bit. If I go back over to the sprite sheet, you can see that this in the top left is frame 0, moving over is frame 1, and frame 2, frame 3, so on and so forth. So that's where the stopped animation is, but stopped left is actually going to be in a different spot altogether. And this is where stopped left is in the programming. So I'll go ahead and turn on my handy little number device that I created here, and tell me where each frame is. So stopped left looks like it's at frame 63, continues on to 64 and 65. I'll go ahead and make that change for all the rest of the animations as well. I already have these values written down, so it won't take a very long time. This isn't the only change I have to make, but I'll do some of the rest behind the scenes and maybe talk about it in a later post. Just the main other thing that I'm leaving out is triggering the animations, which is basically like telling the program when you press the A button, start the jumping animation. Or when you are walking in the negative direction, play the left walking animation. Okay, so I'm just going to finish up here, and we'll see what the final thing looks like. Alright, so here's what we end up with. And now, ta-da, he walks to the left. That wasn't so hard. It isn't perfect, but it's going to do for now. I can go ahead and fine-tune things later, now that I've actually programmed moving left into the engine. Alright, so that's it for today. Next time we'll go into something else. Thanks for watching.